When touring potential homes, many home buyers tend to focus on the visible features, but there's a crucial area lurking just beneath your feet that deserves attention, especially if you're walking on top of a crawl space. So, if you're in the market for a new house, listen up, because you're likely to encounter this term in the property listings. The history of crawl spaces can be traced back to ancient times, as they were a practical solution for elevating structures slightly above the ground to provide ventilation, insulation from the cold, and protection against pests. However, the concept of crawl spaces as we know them today has evolved over the centuries. In many ancient cultures, buildings were constructed with crawl space like voids underneath to elevate the living areas above the ground. These spaces allowed air circulation, helping to prevent dampness and decay in the building materials. The Hittites, ancient Anatolian people, are known to have built homes with raised platforms and crawl spaces beneath. During the medieval and Renaissance periods, crawl spaces continued to be used in various architectural styles. In Europe, timber-framed homes often featured elevated floors with crawl spaces beneath to provide insulation and protect against moisture. In colonial America, crawl spaces were commonly found in early homes. These spaces were used for various purposes, such as storing firewood, food, and household supplies. They also helped to keep the living areas above the damp ground and offered some insulation. As building techniques advanced, basements became more common for providing storage and utility space. Crawl spaces, however, remained in use, especially in homes built in regions with high water tables or poor drainage. With the advent of modern construction methods, crawl spaces became less common in residential architecture, especially in urban areas. The development of concrete slab foundations and more sophisticated ventilation systems contributed to this decline. Basements and concrete slabs gained popularity as alternative foundation options. Despite the decline in popularity, crawl spaces continue to be used in various parts of the world, particularly in regions prone to flooding or where the terrain poses challenges for construction. In some cases, crawl spaces are used to provide access to utilities, HVAC systems, and plumbing without the need for an extensive basement. What exactly is a crawl space? Well, imagine a hollow area beneath the floors of some houses, connecting the ground and the first floor. It's a space typically about 1 to 3 feet high, just enough for someone to crawl through, hence the name. But there's more to it than meets the eye. If you're considering an older home with a crawl space, it's important to know that these spaces were often uninsulated in the past and left unheated. Some homeowners might block the vents, thinking it'll keep the house warmer, but that's a risky move. It can actually lead to moisture problems. Moisture issues in crawl spaces can result in a range of problems, including rot, mold, mildew, and even unwelcome pests like insects. Without proper insulation and ventilation, your crawl space can become a breeding ground for undesirable guests. Transforming a crawl space into a full basement might sound appealing, but it's a massive undertaking that requires careful execution. Converting the space would involve excavation and underpinning, which, if not done correctly, can lead to structural issues. If you're considering adding more living space to your home, there are other options to explore, like building an additional story or an extension in your yard. Both may be more viable alternatives to the complex process of creating a crawl space basement. Now, let's talk about crawl space foundations versus slab foundations. Sloped lots often benefit from crawl space foundations, as they require less excavation on the high side of the slope. On the other hand, slab foundations are better suited for flat lots with minimal excavation needed. It's important to note that in colder climates, slab foundations might not be the best choice due to the potential for frost heaving. Crawl space foundations are recommended in areas where the frost level is significant, as they can offer more stability and protection against soil movement. One major concern for crawl spaces is water infiltration. When water enters the crawl space, it can lead to several problems, including increased energy costs, mold growth, and the attraction of pests like dust mites, termites, and rodents. The presence of water can be caused by various factors, such as surface water from poor drainage, groundwater seepage, or plumbing issues. It's crucial to identify the source of the water before addressing the problem. Crawl space repair is essential to maintaining a dry, healthy, and structurally sound home. Proper ventilation and moisture control are key to preventing mold growth, rot, and other issues. To tackle water problems, solutions like crawl space encapsulation, installing vents, exhaust fans, and dehumidifiers can be effective. Installing a sump pump system is also a great line of defense against water infiltration. If you're considering purchasing a home with a crawlspace, don't underestimate the importance of having it thoroughly inspected by professionals to ensure it's free from water issues and properly maintained. In the world of real estate, knowledge is power. Understanding crawlspaces, their benefits, challenges, and potential issues can make you a more informed home buyer. So, if you're stepping into the housing market, remember to consider what's below your feet as well as what's above your head.